Part 3 of Accusing Spirits. Accusing spirits hand us a generous portion of truth with one hand, and use the other hand to slip us a lie that begins to break down our value system. An accusing spirit will say, "Yeah, I know I'm born again. I know the Word of God. I love Jesus, and it's a wonderful thing that I'm a Christian. And hasn't God done wonderful things with me?" The accusing spirit will build you up like this, and then instantly, in a flash of thought, "But I still don't measure up to others. I'm still inferior to my brothers and sisters. It's wonderful where I've come from. It's wonderful who I am in Jesus. But..." Accusing spirits love to butt in, to plant doubt that will destroy our vibrant faith. Oh, they stuck a word in here that doesn't belong in the sentence. To plant doubt that will, and then it said us, but it should be just, that shouldn't even be in there. To plant doubt with that will destroy our vibrant faith. An accusing spirit will say things to you about your pastor. "The pastor is wonderful. I've heard wonderful things about his ministry. He's a good pastor. He's full of mercy and long-suffering." Then the accusing spirit will butt in, saying, "But he's still just a man. He has feet of clay. Why, look how he's stumbled in such and such an area. Well, he is a godly man, but..." And that "but" leads us to doubt and error, separating us from God, our pastor, our family, and Christian friends. These kinds of thoughts can drive us to abandon our churches and leave our families. Satan's nature is to destroy. It is the only aspect of his character that you can count on. He has no integrity. He will use every possible device to lead us down the wrong path away from God. Matthew 10:16 says to be wiser than a serpent, but harmless as a dove. We need to be wiser than Satan and his demons, but in our own actions as harmless as a dove. Certain serpents are always alert to movements in their environment. So too must we be always on the alert and ready to strike. There is never a good time to be spiritually asleep, because the moment we give Satan an opening. Accusing spirits constantly strive to destroy Christ's work in the lives of believers and to create havoc in God's kingdom. Revelation 12:7 says, "And there was war in heaven. Michael the archangel and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought with his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan." The Greek words translated Satan or devil mean accuser. Satan's name describes his nature. He accuses. His battleground is in human minds, and his greatest power comes from lying accusations. It's no wonder that we are buffeted by negative thoughts about ourselves, others, and God. Satan deceives using both false and true accusations. Revelation 12:9-10 says, "And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down." In these verses, we see the whole of Satan's nature. Yes, he is a powerful deceiver and an effective accuser. But by appropriating Christ's power, we can still cast him down. By allowing Christ to live through us, we win the victory. Accusing spirits possess definite characteristics that result in certain manifestations. One is suspicion. Others include bitterness, mistrust, or always believing the worst about someone. Presence of these in our thought life should sound a warning shot that an accusing spirit is at work. The same is true of suspicion, being easily offended or easily offending others. These all give evidence that an accusing spirit is at work. Exaggerating offenses and failures is evidence of accusing spirits. If we observe someone falling short of the glory of God and our thoughts become filled with bitterness, that's the work of an accusing spirit. Galatians 6 verse 1 says, Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. God's way is for us to gently restore a fallen believer, not condemn them in bitterness. In Matthew 24:10, Jesus talked about the end times, saying, in addition to wars, pestilence and famine, that many shall be offended, and they shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. During the end times it will be common for people to set themselves against other people. Sometimes we hear people say, well, Martha didn't treat me right, Dad doesn't care, or Pete stole my happiness. This is the kind of thought Jesus described in Matthew 24:10 when he said, many shall be offended. If we become completely honest with ourselves, we would admit that much of what we consider as offenses against us actually have their root in jealousy. Do you know what jealousy is? Jealousy hates another person because they possess something that we would cling to and admire if we had it. If we had it, it would have flaunted. We would flaunt it because jealousy and pride go together. Jealousy promotes a sense of unworthiness. We become afraid that someone else will have more or better things than we do. We fear that somebody else will do more, be in better shape, or be faster than us. The spirit of jealousy says, I don't want you to progress faster than I do, or it's not fair that you got that job, even when we never applied for it. In our ministry, we even see jealousy when someone else is healed. Jealousy asks, why them and not me? Why did God use you to help that person instead of helping me? Even though it is their best friend who has been healed, they don't like it. Instead of rejoicing with their friend, jealousy drives them to sulking and bitterness. We've seen pastors get jealous because God used someone else to bring healing to one of their parishioners. Some pastors and church leaders become jealous because healing upsets their theological apple cart. They have been taught that the gifts of the Spirit and the miraculous works of the New Testament are not for this age. So when they witness healing, rather than rejoicing, they become suspicious and jealous, allowing accusing spirits to take root in their souls. I'm going to finish this off because I go into another part here, accusing others. Matthew 18:7 says, Woe to the world because of offenses, for it must needs be that offenses come, but woe to that man by whom offense cometh. If you allow accusing spirits to rise up in you, and they are set in motion against another person, you bring a curse on yourself. The woe falls on you. Don't allow this to happen. Bite your tongue. Govern your thoughts, even if what you want to say or think might be true. Read Galatians 6:1-2 again. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, that refers to a true, verifiable situation, not mere speculation or a false accusation. This refers to a situation where we know a person really blew it. What does God have us to do? Ye which are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Bear ye one another's burdens, and to fulfill the law of Christ. We are to restore that person to fellowship, not drive them away through accusations. To do this requires understanding and care, so that we don't become the judge and jury. God is the judge and jury. We must cut others and ourselves a little slack. Let's take a look at how accusing spirits do their evil works.